Money is definitely something I was worried about when I quit my job, because the truth was that there wasn't a great business plan when we were starting Jubilee as a nonprofit. I was lucky that I had saved a good amount during my time as a consultant, so I had, at least some money saved that I knew that I could live off of. My name is Jason Wiley. I'm 33 years old. I make $97,000 a year and I live in Los Angeles, California. I am the founder and CEO of Jubilee Media. Jubilee Media is a digital media company that creates content and shows and now film and TV. And we hope that one day that Jubilee will become, the Disney for empathy. I initially started by paying myself 30 grand. And the reason was because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't me taking money out of the business that would hurt the business. And I wanted to rather pay people more money, treat people well, and build something that we were really proud of. And then as we've been growing and Jubilee's become more successful, we've ended up right now at $97,000. I'm really proud to be Korean American. I'm proud to be a child of immigrants. And now I'm incredibly proud to be an Asian American founder and CEO. Growing up, I didn't see myself represented in the mainstream, not only in media, but also in business. Now that I'm starting to do some of these things, I hope that I can be just an encouragement to other people as well. My parents were both grad students for most of my childhood. We didn't have the most. I think most evenings we were eating pizza or box dinners. Growing up in an Asian household, we really didn't talk about money. I think watching my parents, I saw that they were always really conscientious about money, and they did a great job of saving, but something that we never had an opportunity to talk about was what it meant to invest even. Now, as I've become an adult, it's something that I'm learning, and I learned in school, and I've learned through others, and I've started to recognize that this is something really important for us to learn. We primarily put a lot of our money into the same checking account, and then we share a credit card that we kind of use on big expenses, everything from like furniture to rent. And then we also have our own individual checking accounts and credit cards. And that's so that we can kind of maintain our own credit and also have flexibility. We generally have always agreed on our finances. Not down to the dollar, but how do we want to use our money and what do we care about? Sometimes that she wants me to spend less money on some investments or on cryptocurrency, for example, things that sometimes are more risky. On the other hand, she does financial news, so she's actually a lot more familiar with a lot of those things sometimes than I am. But what we generally say is anything that would cost more than $300 or $400, we definitely should chat about it beforehand. I thought that is what it means to be successful, to be rich, would be to make over $100,000. I'd spent my entire kind of high school and college career, my entire life, working towards that goal. And then slowly, I think I realized that that's not necessarily what I wanted to do. The idea of leaving my successful traditional job to do something completely different honestly scared me to death. And that I had worked so hard up until this point to do something that other people, quote unquote, deemed to be successful. And what if now I became the laughingstock of, my friends or my community or my family? When I was first raising capital, I went to so many different investors, I went to so many different VCs, and it was no after no, 20 or 30 no's in a row. I'm really proud that we've built a really diverse company. And I think the reason why that was so important to me was because I knew what it felt like to be marginalized. I felt like I knew what it meant to feel like a minority. And I wanted to make sure that people who were talented and smart and driven had the opportunity, and that Jubilee was a place that people would be able to thrive.
We were just looking at costing plus what makes sense for the first drop.
Yeah. I think one thing that doesn't get discussed very often is that when you're a founder of a company, it's not just you who is really feeling that pressure and the burden, but also your spouse or your partner. Because of COVID, we had to postpone our wedding, but we are able to have a small family ceremony, and we're hoping to still have a wedding later this year. I think one thing that I'm really proud of is actually that my wife makes more money than I do. She also supports a lot of the work that we do as Jubilee. It allows me to dream bigger, honestly, and believe that, the money and time that we might be sacrificing as a part of being a part of a startup will be worth it one day. We try to save or invest at least 30% of our income. Our index funds and individual stocks, and then a portion into what I would call slightly more risky investments, everything from cryptocurrency to angel investments. Part of it is also to reinvest it back into the community. In the last several years, I've started to invest small kind of angel investment seed checks into other startups, and a lot of them are Asian American. One of the biggest things that helped me with work-life balance was just the idea or understanding that more time doesn't actually mean more success. When I'm outdoors or when I'm in the ocean, you're literally not able to be thinking about work. And that's one of the reasons why I think it's so refreshing for me to do some of those things. We're starting to think about family, want to buy a house. What does that look like? Do we have the finances to do that? My biggest goal in life is not to amass as much money as possible, but also support others and help open up ways for us to do more good. I feel like transparency and authenticity is something that we don't see that often from a lot of startups or founders or leaders. I know that I would have benefited so much from hearing about these conversations. I think growing up, I defined success in the way that a lot of folks around me would define it, which was to make a lot of money or to have a quote-unquote respectable job or career. Of course, I want to make money. Of course, I want to be respected. But for me, I want to make a difference. And I want to make something that I'm proud of. And I want to say that I've left an impact for the better.